SA Crypto, South Africa's largest blockchain community and news outlet.
All right, welcome to the SA Crypto video podcast, and I'm with Bryan Habana, who needs no introduction really. Bryan, welcome to AfricaCom.
Yes, it's great to be here. Obviously, knowing how huge this conference is and how much foreign influence and interest is shown in this particular event, and how much this potentially has a part to play in not only the social but potential technical and technological development of not only South Africa but Africa in general. And having had a bit of an IT background, I studied BSc IT at university before rugby became a thing. I didn't finish, unfortunately, but doing my Visual Basics and C++ coding back in 2001 and all that stuff was pretty cool. So have a bit of an idea about the tech space, and like I said, being able to have this platform where foreign investment and influence comes in and shares ideas and potentials of how we can, from a technological perspective, improve what is mostly a third world environment in South Africa and Africa in particular, and just share ideas and hear wisdom from those that have been there, done that, and potentially got the t-shirts and sometimes the millions to prove it.
Now, your rugby career really only officially ended last year, but already your CV is building up quite significantly, and it looks like you're growing an illustrious entrepreneurship career already. What is it that excites you the most post-rugby? I mean, you're already doing media appearances. You were at the World Rugby Awards 2 weeks ago. What is it, though, out of all the options that you have before you, what excites you the most?
I think there's a certain element of excitement, yes, but of nervousness as well, because you're sort of heading into the unknown, and the massive dialogue at the moment across professional sports, is not just about preparing yourself for the transition period, which is a really tough one, because you go from this knowledgeable area of being able to know what you've done for 15 years into a space that is pretty much unknown, and everyone says prepare for it, but you can't really prepare for it when you're job shadowing one day a week throughout your career. And besides the financial impact that retiring from a professional sporting perspective has, now going into this unknown field, and knowing first and foremost what are your likes, what are your dislikes, what are you good at, what aren't you good at. I was fortunate in my last year of playing to go back to the Toulouse Business School and do a business unit manager course that gave me certain various elements of understanding business etiquette, so whether that be basic accountancy, basic law practice, even though it was French law, which is very weird, to digital strategy, marketing mix, and all these different elements that from a rugby perspective you never really involved yourself in. So I think for me it's about the excitement of discovering that, discovering your niche, where you fit in. I'm probably never going to be a Bakkies Boerter that's going to go to the farm and know what type of different elements to feed his buffalo or cattle or whatever it might be, and be able to understand what excites me. So I think that engagement from a business perspective, a networking opportunity of being able to potentially market or influence or lend ideas and strategies from a leadership perspective that I've found valuable in my rugby career that I could hopefully pass on to within the business industry. So am I an entrepreneur? Probably not at the moment, searching the different elements, and I think I'm fortunate that I was able to create a brand while playing rugby that allowed big corporates like MasterCard and HSBC, doing some ITV TV work at Rugby World Cup 2019 that has kept me still visibly involved in certain elements of the game, but that has also allowed me the opportunity to network with big corporates in and around the world, which I've been really fascinated about. And like I said, I'm still really much in the infancy of this transition phase, and see where it goes from here. I started a digital sports marketing agency called Retroactive with a couple of business colleagues up in Johannesburg last year, and we shown profit in year one, which in a space that's really difficult is fantastic. So Mike Sharman and the team at Retroactive have been incredible and have allowed me to learn certain elements of the business industry as well.
So I want to stick with that comparison between rugby and business. In our industry, the fintech industry, we saw a lot of very, very successful entrepreneurs who got rich overnight, in many cases, through this new form of crowdfunding called the initial coin offering, the ICO. And you, of course, have experienced a similar kind of euphoria winning the Rugby World Cup, the pinnacle of one of the largest sports in the world. What is that post-euphoria feeling like? I mean, you come down from weeks of trophy tours, you move into the sort of latter parts of your career. Yeah. How do you deal with that period, which I think would be helpful for entrepreneurs in this space who maybe saw so much success, so much money raised, but now they've got to deal with the real tie to the ground, make things happen kind of stuff.
So I think first and foremost, a lot of people potentially see overnight success as an overnight success, and I, having experienced a bit of IT, having done a bit of work, with various different financial institutions in this retirement phase, a lot of that actually doesn't happen overnight, so, whether it be crowdfunding, whether it be ICOs, whether it be someone getting an idea but working towards, safeguarding that IP first and foremost, and then putting it in a way which then becomes profitable. So I think it's not about thinking it's an overnight success. Yes, you potentially sell an idea overnight, but that idea it was weeks, months, and potentially years in planning, and assimilating that to where from a rugby perspective you go from working 4 or 5 years towards a Rugby World Cup cycle, getting to the epitome of that cycle, and through that journey there's a massive amount of lows as well. And I refer back to 2007, where yes, we won a World Cup, but a year previously we got beaten 49-0 by Australia in Brisbane. Everyone wanted the coach to resign or be fired. They wanted all the old players like John Smith and Austin Run to sort of leave, and we first of all stuck to our guns. We never doubted the process that we had in place, and you then get to that place of achieving greatness, knowing how much hard work, sacrifice and effort have gone into that. And I think having achieved that, first and foremost, no one can ever take it away from you. Becoming a world champion and doing something as amazing as winning a World Cup, uniting a nation and transforming minds, is something that no person will ever be able to take away from. And trying to assimilate that to the tech space, and seeing how people go from earning an average salary to potentially becoming millionaires overnight. But that, for a lot of people, the drive doesn't then just stop there. It's about then, okay, well, that was good, but how can I become great? How can I potentially become the next Elon Musk? How can I potentially become the next Bill Gates? And people think about, within the tech space in particular, people become these overnight millionaires, but there's just so much hard work and effort, and for them it doesn't stop there. And then for them it's about, okay, well, we've done something great, or we've created an element that has been extremely profitable over the course of a now very short period of time. It's taken a while to get there, but what's next? And for a lot of people within this space, it's not about resting on those laurels, much like a rugby player, because when you reach the pinnacle of your career and you've tasted that success, you just want to continue doing it more. And then, for me in particular, it wasn't only about going to one World Cup. It was about going to 2, 3 World Cups. It was about playing 100 test matches for your country. So I think it's about potentially laying down, first of all, points of reference for yourself, that you can compare, where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and where you see yourself in 3, 4, 5 years' time. So again, every individual is unique, and you've got to find out your own niche, what makes you tick, and what's going to get you excited to get to that point of ticking.
Final question for you, Bryan. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in the fintech and blockchain space. What advice would you give them? I mean, maybe it comes down to this. What's the best piece of business advice you've ever received?
To read. I'm saying, sorry, is to read. The best piece of advice is to read, because especially in this particular space, people, think about, and obviously we had the whole rise of cryptocurrency 2-3 years ago, where everyone was just seeing, crypto and Bitcoin in particular skyrocket, people taking out home loans to buy some Bitcoin. But people weren't, first of all, knowing what they were getting themselves into. They weren't educating themselves about understanding where they are, where they want to be heading. What is cryptocurrency? How is it mined? Do you actually own your cryptocurrency if you're buying it on a crypto platform? And those various elements. So I think first of all is read. Educate yourself in understanding where you want to go towards, understanding what you're actually getting yourself involved in, and giving yourself a bit of knowledge to be able to make wise decisions. Because I think for a lot of people, you jump to conclusions by hearsay, by seeing certain trends on a stock market or on a rise in price. And if you don't have any understanding, and I think that's potentially, especially from a fintech or cryptocurrency perspective, people get into making decisions based on other people's assumptions, not based on their own assumptions. So hopefully the best advice I've got is to read, because by reading, you definitely expand your knowledge.
Well, there we go. And as you can see, folks, Bryan Habana clearly knows his stuff about the blockchain and fintech space. Bryan, thanks for being with us today, and all the best for the rest of your time here at AfricaCom.
Thank you very much.
Great.
SA Crypto, South Africa's largest blockchain community and news outlet.